I decided to recreate a game called Don't Starve.
Now this is a huge challenge, and the main things I need to accomplish for this to be a good recreation is random world generation, player character, enemy, day and night cycle, health, hunger, crafting, chopping trees, mining rocks, inventory system, cooking. Did I miss anything? Let's find out.
Wait, if Don't Starve is 2D, why did I start like this? Well, first off is research. What is procedural world generation? As I say, random world generation. Procedural world generation uses mathematical algorithms like Perlin noise and seeded randomness to create natural looking terrain, biome placement, and object distribution in real time. So pretty much I spent the last 3 days coding and experimenting with procedural world generation. I started with a simple character controller, then swapped it to a new character model and rehooked all the animations and the mesh into my existing 3D controller setup. After that, I began building chunk-based world generation and added some free low-poly assets to procedurally spawn throughout the environment, so the world didn't feel so empty. And then I realized, Don't Starve is a 2D game, and that's when I finally found it. The answer to all my problems. Someone had already experimented with the same type of world generation that Don't Starve has done, from noise-based terrain generation to painting textures across tile maps that smoothly blend biomes together, instead of using harsh edges. This is only the beginning, but it's already a really solid foundation for what I'm trying to build. And now it's finally time to tick procedural world generation off the list. It was now time to transform the art style from this to this. I started by hand drawing everything, which took 3 months. Nope.
Just a joke. Stay calm.
Just kidding. For the purpose of learning and tackling such a massive project, I used ChatGPT to help generate the base art style concepts. After that, I still spent hours inside Photoshop cutting everything out, creating new prefabs, trees, rocks, plants, and terrain textures, while also creating and adjusting the texture blending masks and tile transition edges so the different ground types could smoothly blend together. It is now time to work on the character. I decided to give him a new look. I set up his mesh, weights, and bone structure. This now allowed me to start animation. And this is when my character decided to get a little excited at this point. He wasn't following the rules, so I gave him a guitar. I kept animating the player idle and run cycles, but honestly it still felt a little sad and empty at this stage.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god!
So it was finally time to add some actual world interaction and tree chopping. In Don't Starve, you can chop trees with an axe, so I wanted to build animations and a toolbar inventory system where I could equip and hold the axe, chop trees down and collect wood resources. This is where things started getting much trickier. Animation systems, item equipping, interaction detection, inventory logic, and suddenly a whole lot more programming. I also added mushrooms and carrots, so the character can pick them up. It was time for a new biome. I then made grass an item that can be picked up along with sticks and wood, as it will be needed for the tree chopping. And I got sick of seeing this running animation, so I tried to make it better. Hey, it's not perfect, but it's much better. Here is a side-by-side. I still haven't done tree chopping yet. First, I need a way of crafting the axe. I had to make UI for a crafting menu in the top left, which contains craftable items, and once an item has been selected for crafting, this build menu will also pop up. We now have tree chopping. Just one script that goes onto all of our tree prefabs. I also added shake. Let's try making some particles for more polish when the trees hit. Guys, it's time to start marking things off the list. Player, chopping trees, crafting, inventory system. Please note, just because it's marked off does not mean it's complete, and I'll give you an example of that with the inventory system and some player polish. I started animating the player pickup animation and coding a way to move the item from the pickup location into a toolbar visually, like Don't Starve. This system maps the pickup's world position into UI space, animates a temporary icon to the target toolbar slot, then commits the real inventory update. I really hope you're enjoying the video so far, and don't be shy of that subscribe button. I think it's time. Yes, it's time for something special. The most important thing in Don't Starve. Day and night cycle. So I started by creating some assets similar to Don't Starve clock UI, and then moved on to functionality. At first I used a simple radius range system which actually worked pretty well, but once I started tweaking the values to change how long the day and night cycles lasted, the sprite itself wouldn't update correctly because it was just a static sprite. So at this point, proper functionality and setup became really important. After more coding and design work, I then split the day cycle into 3 separate radial UI wedges, day, dusk and night. So each phase could draw its own arc on the same circular dial instead of one combined image. But before I can show you the result, we needed some light for the darkness, so a small campfire would do the trick. The campfire also needed to be craftable and placeable in the world, so I started by preparing the art asset, creating the prefab, adding a 2D light, and setting up the scriptable object and functionality for buildable items. Another one off the list. Next, I decided to add Chester and backpacks. I started by creating the assets for Chester, then coded additional functionality for my inventory system to handle dragging and dropping items while storing the click data needed to move items between UI slots. Chester also needed animations for idle, running, opening and closing. Testing had quite a few issues, which I would eventually fix. And after a lot of back and forth, here is Chester. I then animated a pickaxe animation for my character and added that new item to the game. Then I started working on an enemy, and it so happens to be a spider. After getting the spider from Google, I traced, cut and started rigging in Unity. Bones, mesh and weights. I then created animations, walking, attacking, take damage and dead spider. I then might have placed too many around the player, and when I started the game, this is what it looked like. I was really happy with the enemy, and it finally started to make the world feel alive. Next I wanted the spider to drop items once killed, and in Don't Starve they drop spider glands, web and monster meat. So of course, I went straight to work. Currently our player has no health system and can't take damage from the spider, so let's fix that. After setting up the UI asset, I changed the image type to filled so the health bar could dynamically update based on the player's current health. I then created a simple damage overlay, just a UI image that appears whenever the player gets hit. Now it was time for cooking, and for that, we needed a crock pot. I started by creating the asset, throwing together a prefab and setting up the remaining UI functionality. After that, I tested the new placeable cooking station. And then I fixed the remaining issues. I then added a hunger bar and recipes, and finally tested to see if our crock pot actually worked. Do you know what meal I'm currently cooking with 4 monster meat? Yes, it was lasagna. At this point, it had been 3 weeks working on this project, every afternoon and weekend while still working a full-time job. I was exhausted and honestly didn't know how to keep pushing forward. But somehow, I found the motivation within and forced myself to implement mining. It was the last major thing on my list, and I couldn't stop now. Darkness took over the world. It was finally time for both the player and myself to rest. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what I missed or what you'd like to see in the next one. Also, feel free to check out my game. I've been working on it for the past 5 years. You can wishlist it now on Steam, and the Steam page link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.